If you lean towards data, you can make that role really heavy and supportive of data. If you lean towards the branding and like the creative sides of marketing, then you can totally take that as part of your day-to-day job in affiliate in ways that I don't think all the other channels often get to do.
Welcome back to the AFF Podcast. I am your host, as always, Kristen Evans, and I am so delighted to be joined this week by 15-year affiliate veteran, leader in so many different ways, somebody that I've known as part of kind of mastermind groups that I've been in and who has provided so much invaluable information to me. Welcome to the podcast this week, Julia Hochstein. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting to be on, and having watched all of the folks that came before me, I just am honored to be here and part of this group. When you introduce me, it just feels like somebody else, clearly somebody else.
No, you deserve those flowers. You take them and you run with them. You are currently affiliate manager at Outdoor Amusements and all of that good
Outlook
stuff.
Amusements. All good. It's totally just our kind of like big name. It's actually California Psychics. So I manage the affiliate program for California Psychics right now. Yeah.
That is so fun. I feel like that's almost like it's a little bit old school. I mean, I remember like one of my very first affiliate summits I went to, one of the affiliate managers I knew was like, "Oh, I'm, talking to this potential client who's a psychic." And I was like, "For
It is
real?"
a space that I like hadn't touched yet in the affiliate space. And I think a lot of us in this space, because we like dopamine chase for new things that we haven't done yet. And so I was coming
Yes.
I like to do a boot camp agency kind of time period every so often to refresh my skill sets. And I was getting itchy to be back in-house, and this opportunity presented itself. And I'm like, you know what? This is a space that there's a lot of bleed over into things that I want to pursue and still learn in affiliate. There's also still so much space to bring what I've done historically to the plate as well. And I was just like, it's a good opportunity, and it's a fun conversation starter. I just passed my year anniversary like last week. So it's been a year. It is a completely different space of partners in a lot of ways than I've worked with in other programs, which is great. It's always nice to expand your awareness out. And, there's so much that people can learn about themselves from having those conversations with a third party that is helping them see themselves in different eyes. And I love that people can come together and get joy out of what we're doing, that they get to come and connect with somebody that helps bring them some clarity in their life, helps them figure out where they can go. And I think everybody needs that, especially right now. Everybody's feeling that kind of pain. So it feels good to be somewhere where that's what we get to help
Yeah.
connect people with.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. I also love what you said about like us as affiliate managers kind of dopamine chase. I think that that's absolutely true. And, like we all do it in kind of different ways. Like, one of the things I love is launching a program. And so many people don't. So many people are like, I would rather like dig my eyeballs out with a rusty spoon than launch a program because like those, first 3 to 6 months can be like heart attack inducing.
Yeah.
I love it. I live for launching a program and like setting that strategy and like all of those pieces. You're right. We're absolutely gluttons for punishment.
I think if the PMA decided to do a study on neurodivergency, I think affiliate managers would be very full of a lot of ADHD and other, because we very much so, because it's such a perfect mixture. There's something for everybody within an affiliate manager role. So, if you lean towards data, you can make that role really heavy, and supportive of data. If you lean towards the branding and like the creative sides of marketing, then you can totally take that as part of your day-to-day job in affiliate in ways that I don't think all the other channels often get to do.
100%. And the cool thing is like you can lean into those different aspects like at any given time. Like it's almost like a hyperfixation food, where it's like I personally like I'll go so hard and like dive so deep on data for like a week straight and like that's everything. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, wait, messaging, creativity, communication. Like, and it's so great because it does really feed that kind of like, oh, but I want to do this, but I want to do this. And you have, I mean, you said something else earlier, which was like the agency boot camp. That's like actually brilliant. And I don't think enough people like really kind of consider that. in the ways that they should, because I felt the same about
Mhm.
working brand side. Like I like agency because obviously like for the
Yeah.
neurodivergence in me, I'm like this brand,
Yeah.
like it really helps. And I found working brand side for a while, like I would get a
Mhm.
little bit bored. But I also like I work so intensely with brand side at this point that a lot of times it's really fun for me to
Yes.
do that like deep dive into like what is our messaging, what is
Yeah.
our positioning, like all of those pieces. And I think that for people who do work brand side and who work agency side, it is
Mhm.
important to every once in a while switch it up so that you kind of are reminded of the intricacies and some of the headwinds that you face, but
Yes.
also a
Yes.
skill refresh,
It's a good
100%.
reset. I mean, it'll knock you out of partners that you've been working with, and, like, we all know this space is relationship driven, even, as you see the pieces of, like, affiliate needs to grow up and stop being relationship driven, and, like, I could get on a soapbox about all of that, but what at the end of the day, we all do still have our favorite partners for the programs that we're managing, and sometimes it's hard to break out of those bubbles, and so being able to kind of wander into new areas has only helped me expand who I'm thinking about and how I'm thinking about the programs I'm managing. I know that that is just something that people it's easy to get stuck into. So, not everybody obviously will, but it is a very easy trap to fall into on either side, whether the brand or the agency side, because you're just constantly just trying to get the work out the door.
Yep, 100%. It is really easy to fall into kind of those same things. And I think a lot of the reason why some agencies or some people have had a harder time evolving is because they almost
Yeah,
refuse to look beyond that point of like, this is my tried and true. I'm
yeah,
going to stick here, but that's how you get
yeah,
actual stuck. And I do think that the people who have taken the impetus to say, okay, like this is great, this has been amazing, but I'm not challenged.
exactly.
I need
Yeah,
to push myself. I need to ensure that I'm still at the top of my game. And that means going into an area
mhm,
where I'm maybe not as comfortable, or going into an area where maybe I'm not the smartest person in the room, which like I never want to be the smartest person in the room, but realizing that that is an opportunity
yeah,
rather than a headwind, I think is where some of the most successful
yeah,
people continue to
yeah.
be
I agree. I
successful.
think that
So, how did you get your
yeah.
start in affiliate?
I have to start before I even left college. I was an exchange student in high school, and so I shouldn't say I speak it still fluently. I speak it still okay. I can still understand it, but went to high school, went to Germany thinking I was going to be a pharmacist. Got there, realized I really missed speaking to people, like communicating with people, and I wanted to do research pharmacy. That's also probably a really important thing to note there. And so I came back realizing I need to figure out what I want to do that isn't pharmacy because it's probably not for me now that I know how important language is for me and communication. In the process of all this, I ended up with a German scholarship. Thought, hey, perfect fit, going to pay for some college. I'll do that. Ended up working for a marketing department for the 3.5 years that I was there before I had to do an exchange again in Germany. And I fell in love with marketing, but it was going to be really difficult to get a quote unquote official marketing degree with my German scholarship. More so, I got a communications degree with my German degree, and then kind of got to the end of the 4 years and had to find a job to start paying back those loans and to get insurance because this is before, 2008. And so I took the first job I could get, which was a sales role at Career Builder.
Mm,
Started in
mhm.
sales at Career Builder. 5 months later, 6 months later, Lehman Brothers collapses. Several of my coworkers get laid off in a mass layoff where they sent half of us to one floor that was empty at the building we were in, half to the other floor. And we started getting texts from our friends on the other floor as I'm looking around going, you made quota, I made my goals, you made quota. I think I'm actually okay. And our friends started to text us to let us know they were being laid off. So that was like
Oh
six
my
to seven
God.
months out of the workforce, just absolutely bonkers and crazy. Needless to say, selling job postings in the middle of a recession is not fun, nor is it something that I would
Not the vibe.
recommend to anybody. But thankfully, I was in Chicago, early adopter, like chronically online before that was a phrase. And I knew about Groupon. And so I sent them my resume. And I was like, really awesome salesperson looking for a really awesome role at really awesome company. That was my second send to them, like really feeding off of their vibe that they were giving off the website, and got hired to launch the Memphis sales market. And so I helped launch Memphis, the Groupon deals in Memphis. But the entire
Mhm.
time, the whole reason why I wanted to work for a startup is because I knew that was probably the only way that I could get my foot in the door in a market on a marketing team. So I just kept telling the team, I
Sure.
want to be on a market, like put me in coach wherever you can. About a year after I started, a little bit less, they said, hey, we're starting an affiliate marketing program. Do you know anything about it? Like so many of us before, I was like, no, but I'll do it. It's got marketing on the end.
If you are,
It,
so
it gets
pick it
it gets
up,
me.
like
So they brought in me and two other sales folks that were from one of Groupon's like sister companies that were owned by the same team, and then they had Rick Gardner come in as a consultant for the team initially, and so he was my first mentor in the affiliate space. Started to teach me everything. I was on a train ride home commuting, and I was like, "Hey Rick, like, what can I be reading to like learn more about this?" Way
way
back,
back.
and then shortly thereafter, we hired Carolyn Finkmet, our joint friend, who kind of I think, like, that's how
Yeah,
you and I eventually got to know each other, but how I stumbled into it was just, wanting to be in marketing and ending up at Groupon at, like, an amazing time and getting to check off my little work for a startup someday box as well.
that's amazing. I mean, it's every time I hear Groupon, like, obviously, I think of Carolyn because, like, what a legend. I need to get her
Yeah.
on here.
Yes.
Like, I have to get
Yes.
her on here. Carolyn, that's your warning. I'll send you a bottle of whiskey as a
I I can actually
but
I'll just drive to her, and, like, if she refuses, I owe her a visit sometime soon anyway.
I love Carolyn so much. And I mean, she's another person that has been like just so invaluable to me in my career.
So
She's
many
been
of us.
so supportive. I have gone through like she's been there when I've gone through some of my lowest of lows and has she's been one of the people that's been like, you're better than this. You can do more than this. Just
She is
believe in yourself, and like
literally the best. She is the most beautiful rainbow.
it's
I
just
I always say, like, my affiliate lineage comes from good stock. I got lucky with the folks
yeah.
that introduced me to it, and I'm so blessed to have her as part of my life.
Yeah, and she's such a good egg. Yeah, that's amazing. So you went from
Yeah.
Groupon and then where else has
Yeah.
been like some really cool places that
Yeah,
you've
so
learned a lot?
I went over to Commission Junction. A company reached out to me called Zorro. I didn't know what it was. They were still figuring out what they were too. Their parent company is Granger. So for those who don't know,
Mhm.
they are an MRO, business to business supply website. It's still very difficult to explain, but I spent 7 years there building
Yeah.
that affiliate program from basically nothing. There was ink on a contract for an affiliate network, and that was it. And, I took it from, hey, it's going to be just new customer acquisition, and can we even acquire customers in the business space for supplies? Like, is this even a fit to being a significant driver of revenue for the company, but also like a very strategic program? So it started very simple. And then what I loved best about my time there is I was eventually helping plan our promotions for the affiliate channel specifically because as a B2B company, they didn't care as much about things like Singles Day. And Singles Day technically, doesn't relate to the business world. At the same time, we know our partners are going to get a lot of traffic those days. So we should be planning promotions around it, even if it isn't a fit for us. And we were able to increase our contribution margin and make sure that we were promoting products that were really profitable for our company. By the time I left, we started with 350,000 products. And by the time I left, we had over 8 million products listed on our site, 7 or 8 million. I think they have 10 million now. So it was such a learning experience from a merchandising standpoint, category management, all of the things in it. It was probably the most growth I was able to have just because I was able to get in the weeds and dig deep and do all of those things.
So that was a really small data
Oh,
feed
just
file.
super small. It was funny because when I interviewed with the VP that was hiring at the time, or I don't know if that was his official title because it was still such a small company, but everybody kept pushing like, "Oh, are you comfortable working with larger data feeds?" And I'm like, "I mean, I work for some at CJ at the time, I was helping with the Walgreens program. And so Walgreens has a pretty large
Mhm.
file. I was also helping with Office Max too. So both, they're not
Mhm.
shrinking violets of SKU sets either. So,
Right.
but it just kept cracking me up because I'm like, yeah, like it shouldn't be a problem. And that was when we were at 350,000 SKUs, let alone where they grew. And it just always cracks me up when I think back on it because I couldn't have imagined at that time how much they were going to grow.
And that's one of those things that I think is so fun too, like when you're with a program from
Yeah,
like its baby stage, I mean, you're literally there for infancy, and that's one of the
yeah,
stages that I really like for programs. But then being able to take it from like that little
yeah,
baby, that little egg, and grow
yeah,
it and like really show like such a multitude of things that you can do with affiliates, with partnerships, as you mentioned, like they were looking at it as an acquisition channel. And one of the things that I find so thrilling is when the brand almost has like
yeah,
this light bulb moment where they're like, oh, it's not just acquisition,
exactly.
like this can be like brand
Yes,
awareness, this can be like
everything.
this, like pulling
Yeah,
so many different levers. And like it's almost once they have that kind of like spidey
yes.
sense moment, then it unlocks like
Oh,
so
yeah.
much potential, which I think is
Oh,
the most
100%.
fun.
So I obviously went through several changes in leadership during that 7 years just because of promotions and different people and team reorgs as the company grew. But my favorite thing is the realization came with a reorg that kind of put me onto a different team as well because they're like, hey, this actually belongs on maybe our direct marketing team and kind of our more brand focused team because some of what you're doing is just there's so much more fertile ground there than just saying what the new customer count is. And so I had to get up in front of the entire company and give a presentation. And the hockey stick effect happens in terms of growth, but not just in. So, this is the part that brands don't or they get scared about. It's not just the revenue growth that came from adding existing customers, but your new customer acquisition goes up so much higher too, because now you're not just trying to silo yourself into the only obvious places that you're going to get that. And you're going to see such a bigger halo effect for that new customer acquisition when you stop being scared of keeping the channel only as a new acquisition engine. And that just like,
Yeah.
I wish I would have recorded it in that time because I know I had several people go, oh, I bet you, I don't want to call this person out, but I'm like, I bet you that person's really upset that you're not on their team anymore. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is what I always had planned for this program. This is where I thought we could take it because there's so many things that we could do.
Yeah, and when I mean, I've seen so many brands, and I know that you have too, who are like, "No, affiliate can only do like XYZ." And it's like, but really, if you let us unlock the
Yeah.
full potential, I mean, it increases long-term customer value, it increases credibility,
100%.
halo effect across the
Yeah.
board on so many different things. But then it will also be like a cost-saving measure
Oh, yeah.
because affiliate is
And you
efficient
can
and
guide
like
people to specific products in a way you can tailor the messaging to match the product value to you as well in a
yeah.
way that I think is really
Yes.
important in affiliate. And you can do it through so many creative. The worst thing that any brand can do, just like I'll always say there's no bad affiliate platform for like that's why there's so many platforms out there, right? Because every brand, there are some things that work really good for certain brands on certain platforms.
Mhm.
So I never say that I have a favorite because I want to know more about your program. And similarly for a program, there's never one right approach. You need to give your affiliate program space to figure out how you fit within the ecosystem of partners that are attracted to your program, how your customers are interacting with your program. We realized, uh, through like order inquiries, right? So going through order inquiries, finding out like why we were getting order inquiries from Cartera. I reached out to our partner over there and I was like, hey, can you, we're going to look into this a little bit more, connected with the customer, and found out that this customer's boss had promised her for all of the money that you save me through shopping, all the money that comes into that Cartera account or, whatever shopping mall they were a part of, that's for your holiday party or that's your holiday bonus. And so that was her boss's way of giving her a bonus. I could take that to my team and say, look, this is actually how our affiliate team is providing value because we are the only person in this space who is giving cash back to these partners, she's going to choose us every time we
Every
have,
single
if we
time.
have what she's looking for, because that's her Christmas bonus. How we were
Yep.
able to start making the case that loyalty made sense in this space because it was a value add that none of our competitors had at the time.
I love that so much. And I love when we're able to highlight things like that
Yep,
kind of long-term customer value or customer loyalty that is specifically driven because of
exactly.
the affiliate partnership. And whether that's on a
Or
loyalty
whatever.
side, cashback side, or if it's just because like they're a content site
Exactly.
that has baller
Yes.
recipes and they have people that will come to them and click their links every
Yes.
single time. And like that cannot be undervalued for a successful
100%.
affiliate
Yeah,
program.
that was when I was at Groupon, my first kind of quote unquote book of business because we had a larger team. There were three of us and then the director. And so we kind of split up our book of business, and mine was all of the content bloggers. So the mom bloggers, because one of my counterparts didn't
Mhm.
really love having like the conversations that he would have were great for the Rakutens and great for the, Carteras of the world. What's your business goals? What type of ROI? Like he was really good at having those conversations. Meanwhile, I was,
You just didn't
but
have
he,
the
but he
yes.
was like, and granted, we were all in our like early 20s. Like I wouldn't expect him to be super interested in their kids. But meanwhile, I'm like, so tell me, I saw the blog post about your kids. Tell me more about what's going on. Like we would have that conversation. But the one thing that I would say, like leadership doesn't always understand is just because somebody wants to kick off with the conversation about their kids and doesn't have, a presentable 5-year plan that is super polished and, here's where I want to be in 5 years. These women at the time, these content bloggers who are now influencers, I laugh when people are like, so, have you worked with influencers? I'm like, I was working with the OG ones. I was working with them way back when, before it was a buzzword. But it's like
Yep.
they have plans and they know the financials and they know what is converting if they're running their site right and they're making you as much money as they are to get your attention. Guaranteed that they are more savvy than you think, and you should be listening to everything they're saying about your brand, about the products that you're selling, etc., because it's such a great feedback loop for that information too.
100%. And that's something that Amy
Hmm.
Scan and I talk about all
Yes.
the time is really utilizing affiliates as kind of your feedback loop, as, like, what can you do to improve the customer relations? Like, how can you improve customer service? And I think I've told this story on here before, but one of my all-time favorites was I was working with a mail order meat company, and Joe
Yep. Yep.
Souza from Fanatics, who also has the site Complete Carnivore, was one of our affiliates. And at the time, he was still living in
Yes.
Jacksonville,
Super
Florida.
hot.
Now
Yep.
the meat company was in Boise,
Yep.
Idaho, right? And so Joe had placed an order, or the company was sending him something, but by the time it arrived to him in Jacksonville, the order was
Yeah.
sold. And so he went through like a whole exercise with customer service. They redid the order. Second time around,
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
not super great. But basically, because of Joe's feedback loop, they were able to completely
Yeah.
research their packaging. So now they can ship
And now
all
it's not a
over the
problem.
United States. They do a great job. And that was directly as a result of a relationship
Exactly.
with an affiliate. And it's funny that, you're saying that bloggers, or the original influencers,
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was blogging at The
Yeah.
Broke Ass Bride, we were influencers,
100.
babe. Like, we
Oh,
totally
oh,
were.
completely. The medium has shifted, but the folks that are now
Mhm.
in, YouTube, TikTok, all of those spaces, they would have had a blog 15 years ago. It's just a
100%.
medium shift.
Mhm.
And I know that our groups, the groups that you and I are in, we've all kind of laughed about it before. You'll get the article like affiliates, the brand new thing. And it's like, yeah, we've just been humming along in the background. And this article will come back in another 2 to 3 years. Once AI.
Right after the affiliate marketing
Exactly.
is dead
It'll
article.
be after it's dead because AI has killed us to all of the sudden. Hey, this is how affiliates the only thing that's working. I mean, we're already starting to see those kind of like buzz pieces that are happening, but it's just yeah, it's what's old is always new, or what's new is always old, whatever
Yeah.
the saying is. But yeah, it was such a great group to work with too. It was, it was a lot of fun. And that was like the fun that I got to do at Groupon. That was my program that I got to have a lot of fun, obviously, because Carolyn really set the stage for it, but because we had just such a fun brand at the time. So,
Yeah.
it was a good time.
I love it. I mean, I feel like Groupon is so
Yes.
legendary in the affiliate space kind
Yeah.
of for that, and it's wild. And I remember using Groupon on a regular basis, and I can't tell you the last time I
I
even
mean, I
thought to
don't even
look
use it.
for something on Groupon. Yeah,
But
but it was like, I mean, like, literal legendary
I will say, so
status.
I'm like what now, 12 years removed, give or take, from my last day at Groupon, and some of us still will occasionally post about this. I still cannot type group without accidentally typing Groupon, and I don't know if I ever will be able to not type Groupon. It
That's so
happens far
funny.
more, but it was such an experience. I mean, we were building really strong relationships with our partners. This was the best time I had. We're getting ready to prep for the 1 year anniversary of the affiliate program. So we sent out birthday boxes to some of our partners. I went to Party City and picked up candy and little juju things. I got Hostess cupcakes, the pre-wrapped Hostess cupcakes, popped those in a box,
Yeah,
popped in candles, confetti, some Groupon swag, and sent them out to our partners and said, like, take a
I
picture.
love
We want to
that.
celebrate our birthday with you. And it was just so fun to have those moments.
It's like
Yeah,
like,
but when we
that's
had the latitude
amazing.
to do it too, they were like, "Yeah, whatever, go off and do your thing."
Mhm.
Affiliate was valued for a long time there, really, really highly too, in a way. And so, like, I think that freedom too, brands can open up the understand that they're building a relationship. And again, that's why like I still laugh about the, oh, we need to stop being relationship driven. No, like those relationships are so important because to your point with Joe and the meat company and everything else, like if you have a good partner and they're using your product regularly too, they have a vested interest in seeing you succeed
Yeah,
because that's money in their pocket too. So they're not going to BS you. They
yeah.
are going to give you true but helpful feedback. It's not just a customer who's
Yes.
upset and going off online in a, 1-star review. They're going to try and give you that feedback because they value the fact that you're helping them make money too. And I think that's super important that some brands just don't have the time or interest to nurture to allow that space to nurture those
Yes.
relationships.
Well, and I think that we've gotten away from
Mhm.
it a lot too, I mean, I think back to when I was
Yeah.
content creating, and I used to get
Yeah.
gifts from my affiliate managers
Yeah.
on the regular, whether it was like a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or a like, "Hey, we've got a launch and we just wanna
Yeah.
send you something." I think this is one of the problems is that because, we've done this kind of like move
Yes.
away, come back together, move away, come back together with
Yes.
influencer, with PR, like trying too hard to define
Yes.
them, not trying hard enough to define them, all of that. We've
I think
lost
that's
the
true.
plot in nurturing the
Yep.
relationships because, like, I have the greatest ugly Christmas
Yes.
sweater that I got from the team at Snow Consulting. They sent me a Red Sox Christmas sweater
Yep.
from Fanatics just because I was a good part of their
Exactly.
affiliate
Yep.
programs. And like that helped maintain those
Yep.
relationships with me for so many
Yep.
years, and I still love the guys at Snow.
Yeah.
That always kept those affiliate managers, those agencies, those partners top of
Yes.
mind, so when I was going to create
Yeah.
content, they were the first ones that I was
Exactly.
looking
Well,
to.
and there's that, and then there's also like that ability to know that you're building that relationship, that real, true relationship. Um, yes, things are getting more technically sound. There's algorithms at play. There's scalability. Blah 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 blah. All of that's great. Like I'm not going to deny things that can help us be more efficient. Like we shouldn't say no to, and we shouldn't say no to things that are going to make it easier for us to make our case against the other channels that have a wealth of data in front of them and it's almost data overload. Those are all important, but at the end of the day, those things can break or an anomaly can come up that can cause problems for your program. And being able to get on a quick call with somebody and say, hey, here's the deal, like something broke or, product sold out, whatever the case is, being able to have that real conversation and say, this is why I need you to just ignore it. The better your relationship is with a partner, that where they can trust you, whether that's, and not that gifts build trust. That's not what I'm trying to imply here, right? But it's the relationship. They sent you the Red Sox sweater because they
Yeah,
knew that was something that mattered to you and they knew who you were and they
yeah,
invested in that part of the relationship. And I think so many companies don't realize that for an affiliate manager, half of our coworkers are external to us, and we need to build relationships with
Mhm.
them too.
Well, and what you said about investing in the relationship, I think especially with a lot of content creators, it used to be bloggers, now it's like
Yep.
bloggers and influencers, creators just in general. That investment goes such a long way because and yes, we look at, obviously, we're paying out on a performance basis or whatever, but the amount of work that an affiliate does,
Oh
a
yeah.
content creator does up front with no guarantee of
Yes.
payment. I mean, that's what's standing in the way of
Hmm.
a lot of the evolution of the industry is that brands are so staunch on only paying on performance and not investing into
Exactly.
those relationships that it's much more difficult to
Yep.
build the relationship if you don't have some of that
Hmm.
give, out the
Yep.
gates. And some of the best relationships in the industry are because, yeah, we'll pay, or yes, we will send you
Yeah.
literally every piece of
Yep.
product that I possibly can. And all I want to do is have a conversation. Like, I just want you to try it, no strings attached, And when you do have that no strings attached, then you have the opportunity to
Yep.
build a better relationship because it becomes less
Yeah.
transactional and it becomes more
100%.
personal.
Yeah. It's a balance, and it's because we're lucky enough to get to work with people on a regular basis. And so
Mhm.
we should be exploiting our difference. We're not going in and working with the Google algorithm machine and, figuring out that if we change one period here or a decimal point there, that Google will treat us more favorably. That
Right.
is an amazing asset for the channels that can do that. But where affiliate is different is the vast array of sites and people and audiences that we have the privilege to get to work with. And that's where
Mhm.
we, the best brands I think can lean into that and take advantage of it. And the ones that are probably saying, within their executive meetings, oh, is there any incrementality in affiliates? Should we even be working with them? Blah, 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 blah. It's because they're missing the forest for the trees on the value that affiliate can bring them.
Yes. And that really does come to a halo effect as well. I mean, because a couple good affiliates and a couple of those good relationships can do everything for brand
Yeah.
awareness. They can do everything for communication. I mean, they act as like
Yeah.
a PR arm, we all know that. But then it also increases the credibility
Yeah.
really significantly of the brand when you have those voices that are
Yeah.
like your super fans. I mean, and we've been saying this for years, your super fans often make the best
100%.
affiliates because
Yes.
of exactly that reason. And if a brand is kind of gatekeeping those super fans
Hmm.
strictly as ambassadors or
Yeah.
strictly as influencers, they are
Yeah.
missing the boat on huge
100%. And
opportunities.
there's too many that gets into, you know, the reasons that brands will do that always astounding to me because it's, there's combinations of turf wars. So who actually owns this media? This model tells us that that's actually like last touch, blah, blah, this channel and that channel. And sometimes I think that not infighting, but the need to prove success that happens in all of these
Yeah.
channels as more channels have been forced to prove that they have a performance outcome. It's actually broken down that ability to be collaborative across it. So, yes, you can have a thriving influencer program that is maybe more focused on upper funnel and um, gets to do, much more massive flat fee spends than the affiliate manager might get to because they fall under that brand. But hey, like, let me help you supplement your budget. Like, let me, as your
Literally.
affiliate manager, supplement your budget. Let's work together. There's no harm in introducing it. And guess what? If our brand is really worth it, while affiliate can sometimes have a negative connotation to influencers because it's handled in a way that is very lopsided in favor of the brand, if we do this right and we
Mhm.
really care about our influencer program, then like, yeah, let's pay them a little bit up front and let's make sure we're doing a really good job of giving them that cash via commission in the back end too. Because at the end of the day, we're going to show that there's a
Yes.
lot better return through having that dual relationship than just saying, well, I need that, $10,000 upfront or nothing else. I mean, back when I was working with our bloggers, it was like, can you give me $50 for the post up front and then pay me? And I'm like, yeah, like it
Huh.
shouldn't be a problem if you're looking at what they can do. And it just always
Yeah.
astounds me.
Well, and then you're establishing those long-term relationships, which at the end of the day
Yeah.
is the goal.
Money.
You don't do that if there isn't that long-term
Yep.
aspect to it where it's like, yes, you're gonna get
Yeah.
paid out when bring customers to us. Yes, when your code
Yep.
is used, you're
Yep.
gonna get commissions on that. And oftentimes, like, yes, run the flat fee
Hmm.
as a test,
Yes,
like
of course.
100%, do that.
Yeah.
Huge advocate of it. And I didn't
Yeah.
used to be. And that which is really funny coming from the content side, the fact that I'm like, "Oh, no," but I think that's,
Yeah.
like, where I learned everything was, like, "No, you don't pay up front
Yeah.
on affiliate," which, like, I retract that so hard. Pay up front, give
Yep.
people what they're worth, and, take that
Mhm.
opportunity to
Yep.
establish the relationship because, again, like, as you mentioned, it's very
Yeah.
lopsided. If we're not giving them something upfront as well as something on the back end, why should they
Yeah.
care about the back end? Why should they do the work without the
Mhm.
guarantee?
Well, and because so much is out of their hands too. So you can have an amazing
Yeah.
product, or like you can have amazing content piece, and then the customer gets to the site
Mhm.
and your site checkout's down for the day, the product's sold out, whatever else the
Yeah.
case is.
And if your site
Like,
doesn't convert,
it's
that's not
not
the
their
affiliate's
fault.
fault.
And so I think it's always about figuring out what that balance is between what's kind of a fair upfront number. And that's where I think both parties have kind of gotten into this contentious battle of like, okay, well, you're
Yeah.
not going to pay me fair on the back end, so I've got to really give an outrageous number on the front end. It's like, well, I can't take that back because that's, X times of what I would pay somebody that I know is getting traffic well beyond what you're getting. Um, but on the flip side, like you have to, it requires finesse and it requires that ability to have that conversation. And I think the harder part for some programs is like how you're looking at your budgets. If you're giving your budget room to have a kind of a slush testing budget, so often
Mhm.
we focus too much on like, okay, what's the budget I need for just those, you know, tried and true methods, and then we're never given the space to have a budget that we can just say, you know what, I'm going to say yes to this. I shouldn't have to jump through 10 approval hoops to get this done. You've already trusted me
Yeah.
with this budget. I have an inkling, I have the proof, I have whatever it is that I should be able to make that quick run without it being going up the flagpole. And I think that that
Mhm.
is also sometimes missing more so now than maybe historically, because I think again, budget dollars are getting earmarked a lot more for programs that have MMMs in a way that makes it really tricky to just have that like quick let's test it out. It's a $50 bonus in the again, kind of going back to my experience, it was like the $50 bonus in the network, nobody is going to notice it. Like, do it. And I
Nobody's
did
gonna
it with
notice.
approval, right? Like, so, like, just to be clear, Carolyn, when you watch this, since we're gonna like tag you and demand that you come on the show, you knew about these. I did them with your approval, but like, it's not going to go up to a huge finance fight about a contract, right? And I think that that is
Yeah.
also something
Yep.
that we had a little bit more freedom several years ago than we're finding now, and there's so many complications in why that's the case.
Yeah, and I love the point that you brought up about the MMMs. The PMA just had that great
Oh, I
webinar
was
the
I
other
wanted to be
day.
on bad, and I had a business review that got shifted 1 week later, and I was like, "No."
Well, so
Yeah,
Amy Scanlon's one of those people that, like, I could listen to her talk about them all day long, honestly. She's so
yeah,
smart. Every single time I talk to her,
yeah,
I get smarter, and I love it. But, it is tricky, like, I love the fact that we have a better view through into how all of the channels and marketing tactics are working for brands, like, love, love, love that because I think data is
data's great.
obviously, like, one of those things that helps push us forward. What I don't love is the siloing as a
Yeah,
result of the data because obviously affiliate's not a channel, it
yeah,
fills gaps, and so as a result of that, we're going to touch so many of those different pieces, but it's almost like we're kind of like the black
yeah,
sheep of marketing because it's always going to be like, oh, well, affiliate didn't really do anything.
yeah,
They just kind of like came in the interim and like blah blah, which like honestly BS. Like I've been building those
yep,
relationships forever. I think that one of the things that, and I've had a couple brands who have done this lately, and it's made me
yeah,
so incredibly happy, is they'll say, while we didn't see the direct ROAS from that relationship, we have seen the greater
That's
cloud, the
good.
greater halo effect, and so we want to move forward with it, even though the direct ROAS isn't there. But they are also saying we would like to see how the ROAS plays out over a
Yes.
long period of
That
time,
is
as
so
opposed to it
important.
being like, how's it
Yep.
going to hit right now? How's it going to hit within the next week? And then I want the results, and
Yeah.
then we're going to, make decisions moving forward based on this
Just the
very, very,
small, yep.
very short period of
Yeah.
time. Yeah, because ultimately, obviously, large partnerships like that, they might reshare the
Yep.
post in a year. They might reshare it
Yeah.
in 6 months. They might have something come up on their marketing calendar where they're like, oh, let's slot in another link, like whatever. If they've seen enough
Mhm.
bump from it, or if they've seen
Yeah.
enough traction in one way or another, there's a really good chance that you're going to get
Yes.
free add-ons basically as a result. But if you don't take the time to invest
Mhm.
and then reinvest in relationships, even if it doesn't work out the first time,
Yep.
you'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yes, like the thing
Yes.
that frustrates me with them models, so I'm prefacing this by saying I didn't get a chance to watch that webinar yet. I'm going to go back and watch it, but like I was so excited to watch it because one of the conversations that I felt like I was constantly having the last place that I was at, and even now, actually, as we think about MMM, that's not unique to any one place, but really is the idea that for so many of the channels that MMM models are built around, they have one source of truth reporting one singular audience grouping where not all of the variables, but the variables are actually very easy to read. When we take that to an
Yeah.
affiliate conversation, our affiliate partners, if we think about it on the high level with our corporate affiliate partners like your Rakuten Rewards, your Capital One Shopping, et cetera, they're sending out emails that may hit your inbox with the brand listed in the email. So the brand, you don't even have to open the email. So there's
Mm.
no click that has to happen. Or they're sending out a push notification with the brand's name in it that says, you know, extra cash back today of X amount. Okay, so that's going to go into that MMM calculator that says you paid more for that. But what isn't getting fed into that is the views that are happening within those walled gardens that the MMM models have no
Yep.
ability to track and that are not reported by the corporate partners. And then you take that out to our content partners who, again, they don't have that ability to give a meaningful traffic reporting back. They may be posting it on Pinterest as well. They may be posting, they might be putting it wherever else. And that data set, I think, significantly impacts how affiliate gets viewed from a return on ad spend, especially on the models that are really, quote unquote, sophisticated, looking at all of these media touch points. But when you sit down and talk to some of the data engineers behind it, a lot of them don't understand the full reach that affiliate has. If somebody wants to message me and say, hey, I can prove you wrong, I'd be happy to take that call. But I've yet to see somebody who literally has thought through a really smart way of saying, like, here's how we're taking into account affiliate placements, because that's 100% of the time where I see programs fall into problems with the MMM models because they don't see the return on placements that we all see. Like when we look at the
Hmm.
data and you look at customers, I mean, I've done line by line data analysis for brands that I've been with to make sure that placements are functioning and getting what we want out of them. And when I sit down and ask them, like, well, did you consider that this placement gave us X amount of email inboxes? Well, no, like we can't track that. Okay, so that's a whole
Yeah.
portion of traffic that you didn't see play out from that placement and from that spend that I just sometimes maybe I'm not smart enough to realize it, but I don't understand how the way these models are working, that it is a true representation of what the industry is doing for a brand.
Yeah, I totally agree there. And I think this is one of the reasons why affiliate really should be placed more on
Yep.
brand side than it
Yes.
should with any of the other departments, because ultimately we're doing most
Yep.
on brand. And that's where all of the
Yep.
communications really need to be aligned on it, because you're communicating with people who are going to be communicating
Exactly.
about brand. And then
Yep.
the trickle down effect of that is
Yep.
so vital and either help
It
or
can
it
100%. And a
hurts.
lot of times the work that you need to get approved of is not approved necessarily by, if you're on the performance marketing team. Like when I was reporting into a guy who primarily oversaw paid search, like he didn't care what the branding looked like for a content article. It's
Mhm.
only when that branding team gets involved and they're like, oh, who's this with? Oh, it's with this association. You know what? Like, let's bring in this supplier brand that we have and make sure it's a good fit. That's when
Mhm.
the magic happens with an affiliate, not when you're just
Yes.
chasing that dollar sign of, we're going to get this revenue piece here and here.
Yes, 100%. Well, Julia, we're
No.
pretty much at time. This has been such a good conversation. I loved it. Do you have any last words that you want to share with the
Oh,
audience?
well, so there were so many topics I know that you've touched. Like
We're gonna have
we'll
to do
do
a part
yeah, at
2 at
some
some
point.
point.
We'll definitely catch up. I think for me, if you are just have fallen into the space, welcome. You're amongst like so many people who this happens to. Like it's okay, you'll be fine. But more so for like the folks who are newer to the space, I hope that they're taking away like not leaving the personal behind. I am a like, we didn't
Mhm.
even dive into how much I love data and how, like, that is my dopamine chase in affiliate is, like, finding the needles in the haystack and figuring out why stuff is happening, but it's so much about that relationship, and that's the area that I see, to your point, it feels like it's gotten lost a little bit in the past couple of years, and so I really hope that people get to exploit that more or, lean into it more because it'll make all the difference in both your happiness in this space and the longevity of the programs you're working on.
The
Yes,
ness of it is
yes,
my favorite thing about
yeah,
this industry, and it is, like, it's what continues to drive me really consistently. I think it's the
yeah,
best thing about it, I wouldn't be here if it
I
weren't for the
know,
people, and, that's on all sides of it. I think that you feel the
100%.
same way, I think many of our
Yep,
cohorts feel the same way. So, yeah, don't lose the
yeah,
person part of it because that's really what makes the whole thing
it
spin.
is, or at least I hope so. With
Yeah,
this whole,
right.
like, there's always some new AI death or some new, lingering thing on the forefront, but that's where I'd like to see it continue to go as we grow in this.
Ultimately, I don't think you can do
So,
affiliate
yeah,
without the people. AI can do a lot for us,
yes,
but you can't have this industry without the people
yep.
that are running it. So, yeah, again,
Thank
Julia, thank you
you.
so, so much for joining me this week. We'll definitely get a
Well,
number 2 on
it's
the
just a
books
fun.
because we have so much more that we could cover.
Thank
But thank you
you.
so much
Thank
for
you for
joining me this
having
week.
me.
This is seriously
It's
such a great conversation. And for everybody else, if you want to join me on the podcast, check out the link in the description, and we'll see
sounds
you
good.
soon.
Bye, everyone.